what we know at this time. Sources indicate that at 1:30 p.m. local time today, Thursday, September 23rd, police responded to reports of an active shooter situation at Kroger store located at the area of New Byhalia Rd and US 72. The shooter, who was armed with an unspecified firearm, began shooting at patrons and employees. Authorities then intervened and located 13 shooting victims who were suffering from gunshot-related and non-gunshot-related injuries. One of the 13 victims has since succumbed to their injuries. The victims have been transported to local hospital. The single shooting suspect was later found deceased in the rear of the store with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Collierville High School, located at the area of East Shelby Drive and Sycamore Road, was temporarily placed on lockdown. The lockdown has since been lifted and the school was dismissed as normal at 2:30 p.m. local time. Students at the other schools in the area may also have been locked down. Details regarding the circumstances surrounding the shooting have not been immediately specified. Officials have indicated that there remains no extant threat to the public at this time.
Horrific event in the
Expect continued police activity and associated disruptions in the area. Everybody be safe. Pay attention. Memphis Real News.
Memphis Real News. Shot and killed at least one person and wounded very seriously, according to Chief Lane, some 12 others. There may be other injuries involved here. We don't know, as Chief said. This is an ongoing event. In other words, it's still developing. We don't know the total number of people who may have been wounded on this scene because they went to various healthcare facilities in the regional medical center here in Memphis, as well as other sites at hospitals, including the Baptist Hospital in Collierville.
Well, Chief Lane mentioned, how this is just something that you see happening in other places throughout the country, and here it has come home now here in Collierville. Collierville, a relatively a quiet city as far as crime is concerned, but crime, this is a big story here for Collierville, a big blow for Collierville, for the entire Mid-South, actually. 13 people shot, 1 killed.
That's part of this investigation.
Fighting fake news.
There's an image circulating on social media about a person who is suspected to be the suspect on the top of the building.
The suspect on top of the Kroger building was not the shooter. It was a Kroger employee.
Kostov saying his office is in touch with local authorities and law enforcement in Collierville and have offered resources as necessary. Kostov says his office is monitoring this situation and is praying for everyone's continued safety.
Now, just a short time ago, we heard from a cashier who watched the shooting play out. Here's some of what she had to say.
All I saw was all I heard was gunshot, and I saw a couple of customers, like, we heard it was like balloons, like popping the balloons. And then, and the other thing I heard was a couple of more gunshots, and I said to myself, that's not a balloon, that's a gunshot. So the customers that came with me, I said, you all follow me, come to the back of the store. So we ran to the back of the store. I said, go, 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 go. And I was trying to help the older lady that was young lady. And I took her to the back of the store. When I took her to the back of the store, that's when she was, all the commotion was going on. And I kept on hearing the gunshots in the back of my head. I said, oh, God, crap. Let's go. Let's leave now. Go, go, go. And then all of a sudden, I saw, the thing that I saw was where the incinerator is. So I got back there and closed the door, and I heard him come to the back. I was like, oh crap. And I heard the gunshots again. He came in there where I was, where all the other people were. He shot one in the head. He shot one of my coworkers in the head, and then he shot a customer in the stomach. And my other coworker just got a little cut right above his eye because of the asphalt. And other than that, everybody else was okay.
Were they wearing like a whole face
I couldn't
mask?
really say, but I just saw the top part of the guy's eyes. and he looked like he was Asian American. I don't know for sure because everything came because he had what I saw when he walked in. He was about to pull up the gun and start shooting the rifle and start shooting.
Did it look like a hunting rifle or like what?
Like a military rifle. Like a military rifle. And all I heard was tap tap tap, and one gun, one little case was on. I mean, one little bullet was on the ground. That's all I saw. And then all of a sudden, that's when the police came, and the paramedics, and the EMTs, and everybody else came. And they came and asked us, "Are you okay?" And I said, "Yes, I'm fine." But we got 4 people that was shot. Well, it was actually 3 that got shot.
That went with you?
Mm-hmm. That went with me.
How many were in your group?
It's all, including me, I believe it was 6. It was 3 customers and 3 employees. That's including me. That was 6. Yeah. Yes, it was 6.
And one of the employees you said got shot in the head in front of you?
Yes. Yes.
And then was the other 2 that you said got shot?
Customers.
2 customers?
Yes.
And you've never seen that guy before, the shooter?
I can't say.
Okay.
I can't say
he had
that.
a mask on?
Well, I guess he had a mask on, but as I saw was just the eyes. All I could see was the eyes, and just this part, and the hair. It was black, the black hair. That's all I could say. I mean, I can say no comment because I don't. As I just told my friend that was just here, I'm not gonna point fingers, so I'm just gonna keep that to myself. And I find out who it was. You'll find out, because I know they're gonna have a conference. The police gonna have a conference with who it is, and all I know is whoever was with me, that's who was shot. All the rest of the time, all the rest of the people, I don't know.
Emotionally, how are you feeling right now?
I'm still numb, but I'm more adrenaline run. I'm adrenaline running. So I'm a little bit I'm sad because I'm about to cry. But other than that, I'm okay. I'm okay. I've been through everything. This right here took the cake. Telling me I gotta go. I gotta go because I've been here for 32 years. I gotta go.
Was this something you thought about when you heard it? Like, I gotta grab people and take them to safety?
Yes.
So it was kind of, or was it a reaction?
It was a reaction.
Memphis, real news.
Wow. Where did the pops come from? The back of the store?
No, deli.
Is that towards the front?
Yes, towards the front end. And if you get the description, that's the deli part right there. Deli and produce is right there. And when I heard the gunshots, it was coming down, and I was on register 17, which is like in the middle of the store. And when I heard and I got off that register, I said, "Oh no, these are gunshots." I got out of there. Mm-hmm. And whoever was in front of me, I grabbed them and just took off.
And then the shooter followed you guys?
Yes.
Humans are despicable.
All right, so there you heard from a cashier who was on duty at the Kroger who led several of her customers to safety out past the break room in the back of the store through the receiving dock and was able to save the lives of her customers this afternoon after that gunman, she said, was following them at a certain point, chasing after them.
And she said that he actually shot at least 4 of the people that were with her. Well, at least he shot one of the employees in the head, and maybe 3 people. She said he shot 2 other customers as well. But then she said police arrived and the paramedics came in, and that, I guess, stopped him from inflicting further damage to that group. But again, 13 people injured in this Kroger in Collierville on New Byhalia Road, 240 New Byhalia Road. 1 person was killed, and the shooter is dead as well, of what police believe is a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His body found inside what they believe to be his car, his vehicle, in the parking lot of Kroger.
So here's what investigators are doing now. They are going to talk with as many witnesses as they possibly can. We'll be
coming through the Collierville Police Department. Our mayor, Board of Aldermen, I will be speaking on their behalf. We don't want to confuse, and I definitely don't want to create any additional fear in the community. Right now, there are no known additional threats to the community. Right now, we're working a crime scene, very significant one, several, tens of thousands of square feet crime scene. I'm very thankful. Today, there was a lot of good things that came that I really believe prevented this tragedy from being much worse. And I don't want to take away from what's occurred. My thoughts and prayers, and I hope yours are too, are going to be with the victims, everybody that's impacted. A lot of people were impacted by this. So I'm thankful. As you can see, there's many partners that come to help us today, and I'm so thankful for them. Pretty much every city in this county, we've got the Memphis Police Department, Shelby County Sheriff's Office, the FBI, TBI, ATF, you name it, they came. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Something else, I was talking to our team. One of the things that I saw as I entered that building today, the training that's going on in this community and across this country for years saved people's lives today. How many of you have heard of Run, Hide, Fight? That's exactly what those people today did. We had 44 employees that were inside at the time this started, and we've accounted for everyone. Now, we still have the same number of victims as we did at the previous one, with the addition of one. We had one walk in to one of our local hospitals, and it wasn't a shooting victim, it was an anxiety attack. So this situation is going to drive fear, but we are a resilient community, and we're going to do everything we can to make sure that we keep Collierville and this area as safe as we can. And right now I'm going to ask Special Agent in charge of the local FBI, Doug Korneski, if he would come and just give some brief comments. We also have Teresa Dickerson from Kroger, the Public Information Officer, who's going to provide some information, and then we'll open it up for some quick questions. So, Doug, if you will.
Thank you, Chief Lane.
Sir, could you say and spell your first and last name?
Sure, it's Douglas Korneski, Korneski. So first, I just want to start by expressing our condolences, and again, our prayers are with the community. Many of us live in this community, shop in this store, so we deeply feel the loss and emotions here today. I want to mention that the reason we're here supporting Collierville PD. I want to give absolute kudos to the response of the police department, Shelby County Sheriffs, the fire department. Their rapid response here today was definitely commendable. Under the authorities of the Investigative Assistance for Violent Crimes Act of 2012, the FBI is allowed to provide, at the request of local law enforcement, investigative assistance. So what we're doing here today, we've deployed our evidence response team, which has a lot of experience in processing these scenes. They're here, they're inside the store processing.
Memphis, real news.
We have our victim specialists who have come and will be providing and have been providing assistance to the victims of the crime, and then we'll be assisting with other investigative interviews and things of that nature. So it's a great team effort. Just always in the site of tragedy, it's good to see the Memphis and Collierville, West Tennessee law enforcement communities pull together, as we always do when tragedy strikes.
Thank you, everyone. Teresa Dickerson, and I'm the Corporate Affairs Manager for Kroger Delta Division. I'd like to just say, every Kroger associate here in this city, in the Mid-South, we stand with our team here at the Collierville store. Actually, every associate throughout the country. We are praying for our associates here in Collierville, and we're asking the community to please pray for us as we go through this difficult time. We're saddened and heartbroken by what happened here today. It is an emotional roller coaster, as you can imagine. And we, of course, have provided counseling for every associate who's here today. And we will continue to do that. We'll also closed the store. It will remain closed until further notice. Again, this is a tragic incident, and we are saddened by it. Please pray for our family, our Kroger family, the family of the victims, and we're asking today that you will, for the integrity of this investigation, please direct all questions to the Collierville Police Department. And we just want to say thank you to the police department, to the first responders who were rushing in as people were rushing out. If you can imagine that, then you also pray for our first responders who came out today to help us during this tragic incident. Thank you.
Chief Lane, what can you tell us about the shooting?
Ma'am,
What can you tell us about the shooting?
very little. Right now, he's deceased. We're still continuing the investigation. It's ongoing. There's search warrants that are going to be carried out shortly at different locations, or at one in particular. Can't give that out, so I know that's the next question. But we're going to carry this thing as far as we can to see and make sure that there's no one else involved.
Chief, can you talk about the truck in front of the store? I know your bomb unit has been there. As a matter of fact, I think they're running out. Can you talk about what you're looking for?
Well, that's pretty standard in these types of situations. We want to check and make sure, we know from our past experience, or I say past experience, my past knowledge of these incidents around the country. There have been times where there have been booby traps and things like that that's been associated with these, so it's out of abundance of caution. We have the resources here. We have some of the finest specialized resources in this part of the country, and they've been here for a long time preparing for terrorist type attacks. In this case, we don't believe that's involved here, but it's early in the investigation and we're continuing on. But it's just making sure that any contact that we keep this community safe.
Chief, what about this trip?
Victims? How many were customers? How many were employees?
I don't have that information right now. We'll try to get that for you tomorrow.
What was the damage? Do you know their conditions?
Right now, it's still the same. I know that we had one in surgery and another in ICU, and so y'all continue to pray. We don't want there to be any more loss of life.
Chief, what about all gunshots? Because there's a chance that someone might have tripped. Any other injuries? Were they all gunshots?
I don't have any information to support that. Yes, sir,
Chief, what about the training that you all have dealt with in active shooting investigation, without giving away specific tactics, but what helped your officers today potentially have something worse happen?
It hasn't been 3 months. The Collierville Police Department hosted a multi-agency active shooter training scenario with our law enforcement partners, fire, and I'm very thankful that we did. It's a whole lot easier to go through. You make your mistakes there. Today, what the result was victims were able to get medical treatment much faster because of the integration between police and fire. And our partners come in. Everyone knew. Very proud of our police officers. I think, and thank you for saying that, Teresa. It's one thing to see it on the news, but it's another thing when you're having to go in and know that there's a potential person armed on that other side, and there was not one person that didn't. That building was flooded with blue uniforms, and I'm very thankful for them.
Do you know the shooter had a reaction to any of the victims from this store in particular?
That's part of the investigation. We're not going to get into that.
Ma'am? I know you said you don't know who are customers, who are victims. You said the person who was killed, if they were a customer or an employee?
It's part of the investigation. So you're talking about the shooter?
No, the person who was...
I do not know. I don't have that information. We'll try to get that for you before tomorrow.
Were any officers accounted for the employees? Provide that number again.
44.
44. And how many people total were in the store at the time?
We don't have that information at this time. What we've done is we deployed multiple teams, not only searching the inside of the facility, but all the surrounding areas to make sure that we didn't have anybody that was injured that ran out. So we feel very confident that we've everybody that was involved, that we have a good handle on that now.
Chief, what are you looking for inside the store tonight, and how long will this remain a crime scene?
Well, as long as it takes to get it done right. That's the thing. We don't want to take a shortcut, so we're going to take our time. We've got very good partners that are here with us, and we're going to go through and make sure that we dot the I's and cross the T's, so I can't give you that.
We know a bomb squad was looking at a car. Can you say what was discovered or not discovered there?
Nothing's been discovered at this point.
Chief, can you just clarify who the shooter was?
Ma'am? I can't comment on that right now.
Can you say if the shooting, did it happen at the store earlier this morning injury?
No, as far as we know, there wasn't any other incident that led up to this at this point.
Were any officers hurt?
No officers were hurt.
Chief Lane, what's next for the emotional toll that's taken on your officers? It's not every day a police department deals with an active shooting. How's your department doing? What's next for you all after this afternoon?
Right now, our primary concern was scene stabilization and making sure that we get the victims the medical help. But there will be a time where we'll do critical stress debriefings with our officers. There'll be officers that involved in similar situations come from across the state that we'll talk about it, and what did we do right? Is there things that we can do better and those kinds of things? I don't know if you noticed, but we had chaplains here. We graduated 9 chaplains 2 weeks ago, and we had 3 chaplains on the scene here offering their services. I'm very thankful that they were here.
Can you say what type of weapon was used? I know it's a gun.
Can you say how many?
No, ma'am. That's part of the investigation. So, what we don't want to do is, I know you want that information, and we want to give it to you. We're not. What we have to make sure is that there's no one else involved in this, and the more information we release, the more we compromise potential investigation going forward. So, we're going to get you the information eventually, but right now, please bear with me.
Will Kroger also have security?
I'm not sure. You want to answer that question?
Ms. Dickerson, did the Kroger have security at the time?
So we'll give you that information as soon as it's available. I'll get with him and he can provide another update.
Chief, was there a time when you thought there was a second shooter?
We have to go into it anticipating that that's the potential for it, but there was no credible evidence that there was a second shooter. Most of our first-hand witnesses pointed to one. I know there was some reports that I think we talked about in the first briefing where there was an individual on the roof. I can personally tell you that was a Kroger employee because I was part of getting him off. So that was definitely a Kroger employee.
Chief, I know this has been asked, but I'm getting a lot of questions from a reporter on the other side with the checking of that vehicle. Something was removed. Is any other updates about what's happened? It's not clear yet.
Well, we're not going to release what's been removed from that vehicle, okay? If there's something, I wasn't aware of that. I'm sure there's somebody that's got eyes on it. I'm kind of staying back, and we're trying to let our professionals do their job. So, but 2 more questions.
Can you go through the timeline of events one more time, please?
Okay, we told you at the last briefing that the first call came out at 1:30. The first car that the dispatch has on the scene is 4 minutes later. I have since found out that as that call was going out, Collierville PD did have a car that was on the scene, so our response was almost immediate. Some people don't get on the radio. You know, it's a high-stress situation, and they've been trained, you go towards the threat, and that's what they were doing.
Any children that were injured?
Not that I've been told at this point.
Will there be another briefing tonight?
Probably not tonight. If we get any significant developments through the ongoing investigation, Major David Townsend will reach out to you guys, and we'll organize a press conference. If not, we'll have one sometime early in the morning to brief everybody up. Okay? anything else? All right.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you.
Memphis, real news. Pay attention, Memphis. Have you figured out the fake news yet? Memphis, real news. Kroger released the following statements pertaining to the mass shooting that happened today. We are deeply saddened by the incident that occurred at our Kroger store located on the new Byhalia Rd in Collierville, Tennessee, a suburb of Memphis, Tennessee. The entire Kroger family offers our thoughts, prayers, and support to the individuals and families of the victims during this difficult time. We are cooperating with local law enforcement who have secured the store and parking lot. The store will remain closed while the police investigation continues, and we have initiated counseling services for our associates. To protect the integrity of ongoing investigations, we are referring questions to the Collierville Police Department. For the record, Memphis Real News was on site today, and we did try to obtain answers for the tough questions from Memphis Collierville Police, and we were denied the opportunity to receive answers that we requested.
Fake news.
In other news, we will be following up with the Collierville Police Department to get these tough questions answered. Stay tuned. Fight fake news. Stay tuned. So-called state and city leaders respond to Kroger's mass shooting. Memphis Real News. Shelby County Mayor Lee Harris says the community must work together to stop attacks of this nature. We must embrace the residents of our community as we all sort through this tragedy. We must also work together to prevent these ongoing senseless acts of violence, Harris said. Mass shootings and gun death do not need to be an inevitable part of life. Can you dig it? Pay attention. Tennessee Marshall Blackburn, Tennessee senator that supports bringing back lynching, said her office has been in contact with law enforcement on the scene. They are closely monitoring the situation in Collierville, and they are praying for all the victims. Memphis Real News. Senator Bill Hagerty said his office is available to anyone who needs assistance as a result of this shooting. He's grateful to the law enforcement and first responders for their heroic action. Hagerty also said Chrissy and he are praying for the victims and this Tennessee community that is hurt.
Very significant one. I'm very thankful.
Devastating news out of Collierville, said Shelby County Commissioner Tammy Sawyer. My heart aches for all the families who lost someone and the people of Collierville who are reeling from this.
We're going to be with the victims, everybody that's impacted. A lot of people were impacted by this. So I'm thankful. As you can see, there's and I'm so thankful for them. Pretty much every city in this county.
Our thoughts and prayers go out to all victims and their families and friends who were killed or injured at Kroger today, said State Representative Antonio Parkinson. This is a horrible act, and these lives would never be the same. Stop playing.
Fighting fake news.
How many of you have heard of Run On Fight? That's exactly what they did.
Mayor Jim Strickland thanked the first responders who rushed to the scene. I want to thank our police and fire department who answered to the call to assist, Strickland said. We pray for the victims and their families.
Our local hospitals, and it wasn't a shooting victim, it was an anxiety attack. So
Memphis Real News.
We're going to do everything we can to make sure that we keep.
Congressman Steve Cohen also chimed in on the mass shooting today. And his statement goes, the shooting is another horrific incident caused by someone who undoubtedly had mental health issues and a firearm. That is a deadly combination, Cohen said. My thoughts are with the victims and their families and with all in Collierville in the greater Memphis community. My question is, how does Steve Cohen know the suspect got mental issues and the investigation has just begun and nowhere near being over? Another question is Congressman Steve Cohen trying to get cover to this suspected mass shooter at Kroger just because it wasn't a brother? Never forget, Congressman Steve Cohen is the co-author for the Black on Asian Hate Crime Bill that Joe Biden gave Asians reparations for this year. Also, never forget, the witness said the suspected shooter looked like he was of Asian descent. one of the questions I could not have answered today. So we'll see. Stay tuned. Memphis Real News, fighting fake news. Part 2 coming soon. Y'all be safe. Be vigilant. Pay attention. Memphis Real News.
This is a problem that we see with the Asian American community has been going on for years. The people who thrust this at us have seen Jews as being double citizens and having dual citizenship with Israel, which of course is not true, but that's been put out too. And this type of stuff has gone on for years. And as Professor Wiesel said, people who hate everyone.
Fighting fake news.
Humans are despicable. Memphis Real News.